This week, Jonny Robot chats about the only sports game that comes with a violence warning, NHL 16 from EA Sports. We find out some more about Gearbox Software's next big thing, Battleborn, and we catch up with PAX Australia keynote speaker Warren Spector. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week we saw Blizzard fans descend onto the Anaheim Convention Centre for the sort of annual BlizzCon celebration. And even though the weekend's biggest stories were made public before the doors even opened, from all accounts it was a pretty great show, unless you're a fan of Diablo, in which case you weren't really paid attention to. But if you like upcoming shooter Overwatch, there is plenty of news for you. The game is due out in the first half of next year, with a closed beta running right now. Blizzard has also confirmed that the formerly PC-only release is also headed to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. The studio also squashed rumours of being free-to-play, but if you wanted this one on a Mac, you are out of luck. The studio has dropped all support for Apple. Mac gamers can, of course, still play World of Warcraft, with Blizzard disappointing and confusing many gamers with a placeholder release date for expansion pack Legion of on or before December 21, 2016. Ignoring the fact that technically tomorrow is on or before next September, the general feel is that we'll get the game later rather than sooner. There is also a new expansion for Hearthstone, new heroes, a battleground and arena mode for Heroes of the Storm, and new mission packs headed to StarCraft 2, which is out now and with brand new local servers in Australia. But for once, one of the biggest draw cards for the event wasn't actually a game. Here is a taste of the very first trailer for Warcraft: The Beginning in cinemas June 10 next year.
Can we trust him?
They're beasts. They should all be destroyed.
Are you sure about that? We'll protect the kingdom, you and I.
You side with the humans against your own kind.
This is suicide. We have no choice. We should attack with full force.
Whatever you plan to do, do it now!
In other news, Jonny's interview with Gearbox is coming up a little later in the show, but Battleborn has been in the headlines again, with the upcoming multiplayer shooter being pushed back 3 months to May 3, 2016. It's not a killer delay, particularly for a game we haven't heard much from recently, so here's hoping the devs use their time wisely. We also hadn't heard much from Epic Games recently, but looks like that could be about to change with the announcement of Paragon, a new class-based shooter due out next year. We still know next to nothing about the game, but the early glimpses we've had so far look pretty neat. A few other bits and pieces. No Man's Sky won't be in our hands for a while yet, with developer Hello Games confirming the Space Explorer's release date is an agonisingly distant June 2016. Rather than adapting an earlier work, Supermassive is working on a completely standalone game for PlayStation VR called Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. It focuses on one of the characters you met in Until Dawn and will seem quite familiar, but is totally separate and can be played without touching the original. Need for Speed developer Ghost Games has announced there are no plans to charge for additional content, with new free DLC due out in the coming weeks and months. In case you don't believe EA taking this very different approach, take a look for yourself. The game does not have a built-in store to enable microtransactions. Something that did see a lot of money changing hands was the surprise business deal between Activision Blizzard and King Entertainment. To put it simply, the publisher that owns World of Warcraft and Call of Duty now also owns Candy Crush, and it paid nearly $6 billion for the developer. To put that into context, Disney bought Lucasfilm, that is, the entire Star Wars universe, in 2012 for a mere $4 billion. Casual games are obviously still big business. And while we're on the topic of Activision, tying in with this week's launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, an Australian brewery has launched a tie-in beer. Call of Duty Black Hops 3 Midnight Pale Ale has been created by Black Hops Brewing on the Gold Coast and is a limited run only available to Aussies. Described as a light and refreshing traditional American-style pale ale, the beer has a unique black colour thanks to the special type of midnight wheat used in the brewing process. The news follows on from the Fallout beer announced for UK drinkers, a Pilsner co-production between Bethesda and European brewer Carlsberg. Moving on, and to celebrate N7 Day, that is November 7th, BioWare has released a live-action teaser for Mass Effect Andromeda featuring real-world clips from NASA and a voiceover by the one and only Jennifer Hale, that is FemShep from the original trilogy. Bear in mind that BioWare has sworn Shepard is not returning in the new game, which is set long after the originals, so her inclusion in this trailer is intriguing indeed.
We will say goodbye, and you will look back one last time. And know that wherever you go, we will be with you. This is Commander Shepard, signing off.
And finally this week, brand new movie news. The Witcher is coming to the big screen with Oscar-nominated director and animator Thomas Baginski at the helm. It's produced by the team behind The Mummy, and Tanya St. John is on board as writer, fresh from working on NBC's Grimm. The live-action film is based on Andrzej Sapkowski's short stories The Witcher and The Lesser Evil, rather than the games from CD Projekt Red, but if you are a fan of the RPGs, it's worth keeping an eye on this one. It's where Geralt got his start, and the nickname the Butcher of Blaviken, and should give a nice backstory for Western audiences who may not have read the classic Polish books. This won't be the only time Geralt takes to the big screen. Instead, the film is anticipated to be the first in a series of features planned for both TV and cinema. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.